Yes, sir. When it comes to doing hot topics and what's trending daily and whatnot, I usually leave that alone because a lot of people like doing videos like that because it's basically a response off of a response off the initial response, and there's no substance behind it. And what a lot of people fail to realize is that you click on that video, you fail to realize the context, then you misinterpret the situation, you don't know what's going on. Now you're picking sides, calling names, all a bunch of hoopla for no reason. But basically, this brother named Kevin Samuels, dating consultant or whatnot, it basically says something to a young female, said that you're average at best. And basically, according to the sources and whatnot, she said that she's like around a 5 or something like that. So that's basically average. But in today's world, everybody wants to be that top diva and all that nonsense. Nobody thinks that they could be a regular Jane, a regular Joe, and make it happen like that. Everybody wants to just shoot to the top, get that instant oatmeal or whatnot. Nobody wants to marinate nothing, season anything. That's what's wrong with everything that's going on in the so-called black community, because as long as the quote-unquote white man is in rulership, the quote-unquote black woman will never respect the black man. This is not going to be a race war, no gender war channel. This is just facts over feelings. This is just making observations. You could agree with it or not, but this is what I see on a daily basis, whether it's work, whether it's school, whether it's on TV, the music that you hear. You gotta have tats on your face, gold teeth, chains, make music, or be a ball player for these chicks to be submissive. And I don't mean that you're gonna be on all fours. I just mean that you're ready to comply because you're looking for the hierarchy and you're looking for that higher social status. But that's only normal because that's in a woman's nature. But in this world, the black woman will never respect the black man because he's not in rulership. He's not trying to acclaim any power. You got to establish culture. You got to establish some guidelines. You got to be disciplined and you got to take control of what's yours, basically your body, your spirit, your mind, your seed, your family, whatever that you love, you protect that. But in this world, the quote unquote black woman, quiet as kept, is public enemy number one. Because like they say, if you want to tear down a nation, what do? You attack the woman first. So what do? When it comes election time, they have them voting Democrat. So now you got to vote Democrat, black man. You can't think for yourself. You can't think against the tide. What they're not used to, the regular Joes telling them about themselves. Their ego is so high that if you tell them about themselves, it's an automatic insult. They're the hero in their own movie, but they're not used to hearing the truth. The truth hurts. That's the reason why you stay away from the doctor's office for a little longer than you need to, because you don't want to know what's really going on. But let's just dive into this because it's just so funny that when a brother speaks up, everybody wants to jump on him because so-called black man, you're viewed as a nobody. You're viewed as a little boy because your woman is getting looked at as the head of the household. That's why when they get a little position, when they get a little degree or so on and so on, that ego blows up. Now they feel like they're over you, black man. Because you have no power, you're not in a power position, you're not looked at as an authority figure, so you're not to be respected. You're on the bottom of the totem pole. They have gays and homosexuals over you. You have your woman over you. It just dives into a bigger picture when it comes down to respect and when it comes down to order, and that's why everybody in the so-called black community needs to act like they have some order, act like they have some morals, and just have to act. And just everybody just has to humble themselves, especially the women. Let's check this shit out, though.
Or the, 6 at best or whatever you had said. And I'm just really curious as to, since that video has happened, have you reached out to her to maybe just say anything like, I'm sorry that, it came across the way that it did, or, anything to her to just kind of say like, maybe my tone or maybe what I said or my frustration that you weren't respecting, what I was trying to do that night with my show led me to act the way that I did. Because when I saw it, I was stunned.
You know what I find interesting?
And that broad that's speaking right there, Rochelle Ritchie, is one of these little liberal black females that get on the TV and start speaking that victimhood and identity politics shit. That same democratic fucking storyline. One of those little Angela Rye bitches and all those, excuse me, one of those little sisters and whatnot that's only on TV on these white platforms talking about this black victimhood that's been going on for years and before they were born. Now she feels like she could talk about what you should do and shit like that. But she's not going to be speaking like that on these other news sets. And that's the problem. Speak to your own kind the same way that you're going to be speaking to at your job. Their job is their religion, and the so-called white man is their God. They don't want to admit it, but it is what it is.
Is that you expect a man who was running a business when a woman who was an avid viewer of the show called in on an inappropriate day, and I did my level best to talk to this woman, irrespective of my platform. And for 23 minutes, I tried to give her exactly what she wanted. So, and no, has she called me to say, you know what, sir, I'm sorry for calling in on the wrong day. I know I should have did that. I'm sorry for not paying attention, picking up my phone, doing that. I'm sorry for laughing and acting inappropriate. See, but that's the way the conversation's always been. It's always on the black man to bend over backwards and come back to queen black woman and beg for your forgiveness. It ain't gonna happen. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said. That's why it's up.
They're not used to anybody that's speaking like that, that's not on TV, that's not on the radio, that's not on Instagram with 1 million followers and shit like that. They're not used to the regular brother that's working a blue-collar job telling them about themselves. And if that does come to pass, they're going to overlook it, they're going to ignore it, or they're going to respond with an attitude. Brothers have been conditioned to be fucking allowing this toxic behavior to continue, and then we don't seem to understand why there's so many single mothers out here. It starts with the parents, but then that shit trickles down to the kids, and then now we don't know how to have a relationship with each other. We're out here scattered. We don't have an order of things because we need to put the Most High in our lives, period, point blank. But we out here with no order. That's why our women want to be men and our men want to be women, so on and so on, dude. It's not even funny.
Okay, and that's fine. Okay, so you didn't. So my thing is this:
I didn't, nor should I. I didn't, and I don't, and nor should I have been expected.
Okay, and that's fine. That's your it's your show, it's your decision. But this is the other thing: if you are because I'm on television as well, and
she had to point out that she's on TV, but nobody really cares because nobody wants to hear you cry all that victimhood nonsense. But check it out, though. I know brothers is listening to this shit and they could just hear the broad that's in their neighborhood, a community, or school, or work that sounds just like this broad and is one of those broads that you just cannot tell anything to. That's drama everywhere she goes, gossiping, all up in her IG, all up in the comments, worried about what her dude or her side dude is liking or commenting on. Just toxic behavior, dude. You can hear it all in her voice that she not even listening to this dude. She's just listening to respond. So-called black women have a big problem with that. We're not blaming it all on women. But brothers have to understand women. And you got to understand that we're not even going to be going back and forth with y'all. Because that's basically two female spirits going at it. You're not going nowhere with that. If you ever hear her tone getting like this, man, you just gonna have to cut it short sweet. A lot of brothers is just used to going back and forth with these females, and it goes nowhere, or it either goes and it escalates, and then now you're sitting in the fucking jail cell, all because you couldn't keep your composure. A lot of brothers is over emotional. A lot of sisters are over emotional. We have to understand that we gotta deal with each other, dude, on another level if we really want to achieve greatness.
if you have your own show and somebody is doing something that you find disrespectful to your show, just like you hung up on me, you could have hung up on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't even have to continue having the conversation.
Please don't tell me what I should or should not do.
I did
what I did.
I said you could
Look,
have.
Rochelle, I could have done a lot of things, but I did what I did.
Yeah, I know you did. I'm just saying.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're just saying, but here's the thing. I find it very rich We are always telling men what we should do. They told Kevin Kelly what he should do in his restaurant too. He put $1 million plus into a business during the pandemic to employ black people. And because he said, get the fuck out, I don't need your money, they wanted to cancel a brother. 82% of men say there are no marriageable women on the market. When are you ladies going to start listening to men instead of telling us what we should do?
Exactly.
I didn't say, okay.
Yes, you have.
I didn't
sis.
say, I did not say what you, I didn't say you had to do that. But what I'm saying
But why would you
is
think
that
it's on
just
my? Why
like,
would you think it? Okay, why would you think it's on me to reach out to this woman and call her? She is not a poor
we
wounded
moved
bird.
past
That's a
that, Kevin.
hold
I'm
on. No,
past
we
that. You
know.
didn't
No,
do it, and
no,
it's
no. But the
fine.
thing is, hold on. But my question
Okay.
is, I didn't ask you a follow up question. Why would I need to follow up with a middle aged entrepreneur, 35-year-old business owner, mother of one, to coddle her feelings like she's a wounded little bird?
Because that's what she is to the public. That's the number one role of the black woman, to play the victim role. She's 35 and everybody's coming to her, what? Coming to her rescue like he assaulted her or some shit? When all he did was tell her some factual shit? Now everybody in here jumping for clout and jumping for attention and followers and shit like that now. Off of this dude when he's saying some real shit. But at the end of the day, we already know that the sisters are not going to listen. They won't realize what's going on until it's too late.
That's not what I said. I asked you I asked you if you did. I didn't say
Why
that
would
you
I
should
need to
have.
though?
I
Why
didn't
would I
say
need
that you
to?
needed to. I just asked you a question. That's it. You didn't do it. Okay, moving on. I never said you needed to do anything. I just
But you
asked you
asked
if
a
you
question
did.
for a reason. Okay. And the thing is, if I were Gordon Ramsay, if I were Simon Cowell, I wouldn't be asked, well, did you say, did you really have to be the way you, when you told that person they are a ghastly singer, did you send them a message and say, I shouldn't have said it? How you
Simon
doing?
Cowell is a narcissist and an asshole too. So I mean, there's
Oh,
no difference
two.
between them two.
Oh, okay, two. Two. Interesting. Two. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, you hear this though, dog? Not only is she trying to talk to him, talking over him, she wants to insult him and then not understand that she's a part of the problem. Brothers is not out here worrying about your degrees, worrying if you're on TV. We're worried about your character. Are you actually humble? Do those followers get to your head? What do you believe in? You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But women like this, the strong, independent woman, quote unquote, is going to be dying inside later down the line when those looks run out and you got mileage on that box. Nobody wants to fuck with you because of your attitude and you didn't want to listen. That's all because she developed that shit through childhood and she's not the only one like that. This isn't an attack on her, but this is just saying that this has got to stop. When brothers are out here with nothing but good intentions and love in their heart, trying to help sisters, they think it's an attack and they do not want to hear it from them. Call each other's bitches and shit like that, but when a brother says it, they have an attitude. We have to stop being hypocrites. We contradict ourselves every other sentence and shit, then we get mad when somebody calls us out on it. How the fuck do you expect to grow in life?
I think it's funny. I'm sorry to step in. I think it's really funny that a lot of people are so uptight or concerned about your tone when you spoke with her. When again, like you said, she called in. She was a listener, so she should be used to your tone and how you present whatever dialogue that you're having. And she asked you questions that you were specifically answering, and she was ignoring. And I think it's a little funny that so many people feel that you were out of line when you were very clear. To me, you were extremely patient. And I also think that the woman was not expecting you to be as thorough as you were because she was not really prepared. And so I
Right.
don't think she deserved an apology at all. It wasn't a situation that required it. She should have taken the information as you gave it to her, and hopefully she'll put it forth, and maybe she'll get that 6-figure guy.
Just a future reference, man. Nobody needs to apologize for saying how you feel, dude. If nobody cannot handle how you're saying what you're saying, if it's the truth or your opinion, then it's just somebody that you're gonna have to consider just being quiet around. or just watch what you say just to fucking avoid a headache and shit like that. You don't have to apologize for telling the truth or saying how you feel, especially when somebody is asking for your advice or your opinion. So many times people overreact to that shit. Then we understand why the quote, "you can't handle the truth," is so relevant.
She thinks that she's, you know,
Well, and see
able to
now,
get.
so of course, and I've been told that I've cursed the woman out. I said broad. I said damn, in the context of a lot of goddamn nerve. I said broad, and then I said get the fuck off my phone. Over the course of a 23-minute conversation, that was on the way of hanging up. But yet I've cursed this woman out. I've heard some of the most disingenuous responses from women. I've heard grown women that are about 10 years older than this woman call this woman a young, helpless woman and da 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 da. Here's the thing. If men are not going to speak to you like women. And if you need us to speak to you like women, go get a woman.
They probably already tried, brother. That's why they so mad. They mad they can't change you into the dude that they want to, like it's a Build-A-Bear situation. And then they're mad that you're telling them about themselves. We in this together, man. But the sister is always feeling under attack. And it starts at the home. And it starts with the Most High, man. These are simple problems.
Are fed up with this narrative. And when we speak, you say we're hurt, you're bitter, you're this. What's going on with the last 30 years of media in the image of black men? Men are speaking their truths. And men are speaking what they're saying, and you're not going to silence them, shame them. You're not going to maneuver them, because here's what ends up happening. Like it or not, of the black men who marry and go to college and have a bachelor's or higher, 30% marry out.
And those brothers is just not around for the bullshit. They not around for the drama. They not around for the headaches. They down for some females that are feminine, that are warm. That's why brothers date out. Especially when they dealt with that shit at the house, coming from their mothers. They're not looking for anything that's similar to their mother. There's no hatred. There's no self-hate, hate towards black women or nothing like that. A lot of stuff develops at the home, and then a lot of stuff develops throughout life, throughout the trials and tribulations of growing up. Especially when you're seeing the images and the realities of the so-called black woman be nothing but degrading with the thought culture, this hookup culture, twerking and all this nonsense. We're not speaking about all. Of course, there's exceptions. But all we see on TV, we don't see the Lauryn Hills. We see the Cardi B's and Megan the Male Horses and shit like that. Brothers are looking for feminine broads. They're not looking for the confrontation when they want to run up on you to try to introduce themselves and see who you are. But these sisters are so masculine that it's going to be their downfall. Nobody wants to get with no fucking masculine females. If you want to be a masculine female, call yourself a stud and look for a female. It's never going to work out.
Why? We want to say they hate themselves. They're self-haters. They can't deal with a strong black woman. But you never ask the men why. We never ask the men why they're doing what they do. We just chastise them for doing what they do. And my show has proved in for 6 months, night in, night out, what women want. And I don't judge what they want. I just ask, what's the likelihood of you getting it, and what does the kind of man that you want from a woman? And that's when it starts to fall apart. Why is it such a difficult ask to get the average sister to see where the men are coming from, especially the men that you say you want? I don't get it, but we're gonna keep it going. Raise your hand. And
The men that they want wouldn't waste 2 minutes dealing with the bullshit, and they could smell it from a mile away, and that's why they're angry. Not all, but
Say this too to the men. Here's my challenge to the men, especially if you're one of the men that falls in this category. You guys need to stop being quiet. I know you have jobs. I know we have the cancel culture. But of the thousands of responses, women think that it's a minority of men because they're not hearing it. And unfortunately, we all have something to do in this regard. It's not just for content creators or these people. It's for average, everyday folks to start telling the truth. Here's over the holiday. When you go back home to your family.
it's just so funny that the majority of the so-called black women, or just women in general, are looking for the minority in men. It's never gonna work out unless you want to share a man, and they frown upon that in this land over here in Western civilization. But eventually, it might come down to that. All these sisters are gonna have to share a man because you're never gonna get one with the way that you're acting.
What you really think, and stop telling women what you believe they want to hear just to keep the peace. If you want a different outcome. Let's see. We got a lot of people with their hands raised. So I'll go to Jared. You're next up. Jared. Hello. Okay, well,
You gotta wait for him. You gotta wait for him to accept the invite to come up.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Agree with. I feel like that woman that came on, she sold herself short by. I think you asked her like to rate herself, and she said she was a 5, and I think she should have rated herself much higher if she.
Why? Why?
I don't think she believes she was a 5 either.
But why? But my question is, when did it become so? Most people are average or normal.
I feel like, okay, so you told her she was average at best. So I was not offended by that. That is.
What does that mean? Let me explain what average at best means.
Uh-huh.
When you are a 5 when you wake up, that means most of the times you are average. At best, you are a 6. So over your lifetime, you're average at best, and we're only getting older. Gravity is only taking more of effect. We know how this works.
Okay, so aside from that, I think what Rochelle is referring to is like, and what you said is you called her broad. You told her to get the F off of your phone. I think you said men don't need to speak to women as women. Then what should they speak to them as? Like how?
No, speak to men. No, we don't need to speak to women like we're women.
Oh, like you're women. Okay, I understand. But the thing is, like, it was your delivery. If that's how you decide to deliver things, it's okay. Everybody has their way.
No, actually, really, let's be honest. Really, it isn't, Brittany. It's not okay. It's not okay, or else it wouldn't be such a backlash.
Okay, well, I think part of the reason you do that is because it draws, it draws attention too.
No. See. We don't ask men questions. We tell them what we do. You tell me what I do. You have a chance to ask me any question you want, and you're telling me about it.
Okay, so why do you do that then? Like, why did you speak to her that way?
Because it was deserved at that point. Did you watch the entire 23-minute video?
Hold up. I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Oh, don't.
Yo, these bros be ready to explode. And why did I bet you that the chick, I guess her name is Brittany right there, that's asking the questions, I bet you she did not watch the whole video. She only watched that segment. And that's what these liberal fools, pro-black revolutionaries that follow these sisters to these protests and whatnot, they watch 15-second clips, get all emotional and whatnot, and want to scream racism and this, that, and the third. When they don't know the context of any situations, they don't know any information. They only listen to what's told by that clown Sean King and all these race hustlers and shit like that. They don't know any context of any situations. That's why you cannot take them serious. But this broad, Rochelle, is about to jump in here again and get loud. She would not be doing this behind the scenes at Fox News, MSNBC, or whatever the fuck she be on. I'm trying to tell you, these sisters do not respect you brothers. Not all. There's exceptions to the rule, of course. But you're not looked at as an authority figure. They're looking at you like, who the fuck are you to have a voice, have a mind of your own, to be telling me that I could be better than what I am right now? That's how these bros think. That's why they go for low-level motherfuckers, so that they could reign over them. That's why they hang with homosexuals, soft dudes, so that they could reign over them. A bunch of beta motherfucking males that's going to follow these liberal broads to a brick wall. They not used to dudes that's standing on their 10 toes firm. But it's going to have to be like that, though. Because they're never going to learn. They are their own worst enemy. Period.
Yes, it
Is that
was
Rochelle?
Rochelle, but
No,
Yeah,
that's not gonna work, man.
Okay,
You don't
well,
have
what
you
also
don't
doesn't
have
work.
to, okay, you don't have to be here, man. You don't have to.
Oh no, I'm about to leave, but really quick. So your advice to men is to tell women.
Again.
Kevin, that was not nice.
Whoa.
Yo, brothers, man, what he just did is just showed y'all how to deal with a loudmouth, independent, strong, so-called black woman. You just cut her off. You just go about your ways. You tell her to take it easy, and that's it. Brothers are so conditioned to deal with this shit, deal with this verbal abuse, deal with this yapping, and then we call it a strong relationship, tough love, black love, all that nonsense. Because brothers are used to their moms yelling in their fucking ear, and then they want to fucking carry that shit on into their life. Then that shit trickle down to their kids. And now we understand how the cycle continues. You don't deal with that shit at all. He could try to be petty right here or whatever the fuck. It is what it is. But brothers, don't deal with that shit. You don't get a badge of honor. There's no gold medals for that nonsense. For putting yourself through all this nonsense, then we wonder why brothers be dropping dead at 55, 58 because of a fucking heart attack. Yo, it's not funny, but this shit is real.
Not nice. She was being
That's
rude.
how you have
is
to
that
do
not
it.
nice?
That's how you have to do it.
Stop. That is what the black community is used to. One-way aggression. You're used to women being able to be verbally aggressive and abusive to men, and we're just supposed to take it. I won't.
Was that woman? So the reason why
Ma'am, let me finish let me also say this. That woman is a professional. You know how to conduct yourself, but see, the thing is, black men are men not. There is a low-level contempt and lack of respect for the overall black male image. So when black men finally respond, you question us as to why we responded. Well, I tell you what, if Isaac and I were dialoguing back and forth, we would have to understand that there's a line that we don't cross because there's a low-level threat of violence between men. Between a man and a woman, you guys have no consequences. You're completely protected to where you can see a woman who's 5 foot something, 100 and something, calling a 6 foot, 300 pound, you punk motherfucker, piece of shit, nigga.
Yo, man, sisters do not want to hear that shit, though, but it's the absolute truth, man. Brothers are tired of hearing that shit, and at the end of the day, it's not the sister's fault completely. It's not the brother's fault completely. We got to understand that it is a spiritual battle at the end of the day also, man. When the spirits are corrupted, we're going to be nothing but evil. It's going to be a lot of animosity. It's not going to be any love. You feel what I'm saying? Especially when we're not putting the Most High first. Especially when these women put themselves on the pedestals and the brothers that are supposed to be leading the households are on their knees and they're worshiping these broads. They're calling the black woman God and all this nonsense. Everything is running into shambles. We got the kids, we got the bras, we got the dudes, fellas, everybody running rampant in the so-called black community. There is no order, only destruction and chaos. We have no guidelines. We have no stipulations, nothing. That's why we're looked at as how we're looked at, dude. That pitiful dog that needs a helping hand, man. So-called black men, yo, you have to understand that we have to take control of every situation that we're in. That victim role is a wrap for that nonsense. If anybody wants to deal with these conversations that's going nowhere, tell them to take it easy, let them have it. That's it. We're not around for that nonsense anymore. We're not going anywhere with these. All these conversations have been going on for about 30 years plus, man. These women are corrupted. They are their own worst enemy because they believe all these ideologies and all this shit that's swirling in their head. They believe that they're their own God. They're their own hero. It is their own movie. You feel what I'm saying? They do not respect so-called black men. They don't look at you as an authority figure, especially when a white man is in rulership, and that is who their daddy is. Period, point blank. It is what it is. But if we're looking for guidance and we're looking to build in the so-called black community, the so-called black woman has to humble herself first. You can't be fucking crying when a so-called black man go ahead and date outside of the quote-unquote race. All because you took him for granted. You think that somebody else is going to deal with your bullshit. It's not going to go like that. We're supposed to be cordial. Life is not this difficult. It is real simple. But brothers, sisters have to humble themselves equally in a totality. The whole collective needs to get it together. And we have to understand that Kevin Samuels just exploited what brothers on a daily basis go through. That's why I had to dive into this video, because this shit speaks volumes. Brothers are tired of dealing with you loudmouth, angry sisters because y'all want to say that y'all are strong and independent and y'all don't need us because y'all have a job and whatnot, but yet y'all are stressed out and are a mess because you're going to need a man. That's the only reason that women were put on this earth, to be a helpmeet to the man. That's why a man is so fucked up in the head when a woman is fucking with his feelings, because a man is invested into protecting and providing for a woman. But a woman is all fucked up. They can't be taken serious. They're children, and they do not mature until their looks run out or until it's too late. That's about it for that, man. I'm out.